She stepped onto the firing line and the range froze. In her hands wasn't a battle-worn rifle, but an Accuracy International AXMC painted bright, defiant pink. Laughter exploded. This was the arena of America's elite marksmen, not a fashion show. Bets slammed down, cash changing hands in seconds. No one believed she'd survive the first shot. Elena Cross didn't blink. She dropped prone, movements razor-sharp, eyes locked steady. One breath, half exhale. Squeeze. The rifle thundered, and a metallic ping rolled back from a steel plate 1,000 meters away. The laughter cut short. Silence rippled through Ironveil Range, the Nevada desert trembling under the echo. Faces that mocked her seconds earlier now stared as if they'd witnessed the impossible. But this was only the beginning, because the woman with the pink rifle wasn't chasing trophies. She was here to break limits no soldier had ever dared. Before we go further, you're watching Quiet Valor Stories, the channel that brings hidden military legends to light. Comment below where you're watching from, and we'll give you a shout-out in the next video. And make sure to subscribe, because you won't want to miss what happens next. Dawn slid across Ironveil's expanse of sand and steel. Engines rumbled awake. Boots crunched gravel. 50 of the best shooters in the world gathered, some scarred by Fallujah and Kandahar, others gleaming in spotless competition jackets. Bravado buzzed near the registration tent. Firefight tales traded like currency. Hierarchy formed quickly combat veterans at the top. Unknowns at the bottom. A faded sedan pulled into the lot. The door opened. Elena Cross stepped out 27, spare and deliberate, carrying only a long black case. No logos, no team patches, just plain hardware and a soldier's economy of motion. Her eyes swept the field with surgical calm. At check-in, a private barely looked up. Registration, ma'am. He slid her a slip 49. Last in the firing order. Inside the tent, clipboards shuffled. Names were called. Cross never heard of you. An officer muttered, Branch Air Force. She answered evenly. The man smirked. Good luck. These guys eat ranges like this for breakfast. Colonel Adrian Kessler. The range officer lifted his voice so all could hear, for the record. Some competitors are listed under temporary cover billets. Do not speculate on unit or rank. This championship is about skill. He let the words hang a beat before moving on. Outside, rifles gleamed under canopies, scopes and tripods locked into place. Then the noise hushed as Elena knelt and unlatched her case. Gasps spread like wildfire. There it was, the pink rifle, its candy finish chipped, cold steel showing beneath. Someone snorted. What is this? A toy store. Another chuckled. Guess we're running a fashion show. Heads turned, grins spreading wide. Captain Marcus Hale pushed forward, 3 combat tours etched into his frame, voice cutting like a whip. This ain't a car show, Lieutenant. War doesn't come in bright colors. Laughter roared louder. Elena didn't flinch. She slid the bolt home with surgeon's precision, locked the bipod. Chambered around. Her hand brushed a small pink crystal pendant at her neck. For a heartbeat. Her eyes softened, then hardened again. Colonel Kessler stepped forward. Presence commanding instant silence. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Long Range Precision Championship. He clipped a chart to the board. Targets staged at 700, 1,000, 1,800, 2,700, 3,800, and 4,900 meters. The official final, 5,200 meters. Unbroken territory. Murmurs swelled. No official record had ever touched that distance, and by rule. Competitor 49 would fire first. All eyes swung back to the pink rifle. 3 breaths, half an exhale, trigger squeeze. The pink rifle cracked across the valley, and the metallic ping that followed left no doubt dead center. The spotter's voice betrayed surprise, impact, center mass. The silence broke into murmurs. No laughter now, but uneasy recognition of skill. Elena rechambered without expression, face calm as stone. To her, the shot wasn't a miracle, it was inevitable. Beginner's luck. Someone muttered, though even he didn't sound convinced. Marcus Hale folded his arms, studying her closely. Grip, recoil control, alignment, everything was refined, practiced, not the fumbling of an unknown rookie. The line cycled. Other shooters fired, some striking steel, others missing. A younger competitor blurted, "Perfect form?" Marcus only nodded once, eyes locked on Elena. Elena packed her gear in silence, precise as if she'd done it 1,000 times before, at 1,000 meters. The Nevada wind picked up. Flags twitched, dust skimmed the ground. Elena dropped prone, repeating the ritual. Crack. Ping. Another center strike. The spotter hesitated. Voice shifting. Confirmed. Center. Now the murmurs carried weight. 2 in a row was no fluke. Marcus narrowed his eyes. No rookie pulls that twice. Something in her stillness. The way she calculated it reminded him of techniques he'd glimpsed overseas, whispered among black-budget teams. One vet leaned to another, muttering. Her cadence. That isn't regulation. The line cycled again. Some clipped steel. Several missed. Marcus drilled his shot. Solid, but no longer singular. When he rose, his confidence didn't burn as brightly. Back at her bench, Elena flipped open a waterproof notebook. Pages filled with formulas, spin drift, barometric pressure, Coriolis corrections scribbled tight. Not a range card. A private code, she murmured under her breath, scanning the horizon. The pink rifle settled under the desert sun, scarred but unyielding. For a moment, memory slipped through her defenses. 17 again, lying on a weathered bench beside her twin sister. Seraphine, both striking targets others couldn't dream of. Their father stood behind them, pride hidden beneath his stern tone. Seraphine grinned, elbowed her, whispered, "Don't miss." Ra. That promise had been etched in her ever since. The memory dissolved as the range officer barked for the 1-800-meter line. Competitors shuffled forward. Marcus rolled his shoulders, trying to shake his unease. Elena took her position first. Her breathing slowed not in the familiar 3-count, but in a rhythm no veteran recognized. 5 shallow breaths, 1 deep inhale, half exhale. Pause. The rifle barked. Ping, center strike. This time. The silence was heavier than the shot itself. No one dared laugh. 3 for 3. Impossible consistency. Marcus fired next. His round clipped near center, drawing nods, but the respect of the line was drifting away from him toward the quiet woman with the pink rifle. He scowled, jaw tight. Nobody unknown should shoot like that. Not without a record. Not without scars to prove it. As Elena walked past, Marcus called after her. "Where'd you learn to shoot?" She glanced sideways. Voice calm, here and there. She kept walking, stride unbroken. Marcus clenched his jaw. He would find out. The sun climbed higher, dust shimmering across the valley, the air heavy with the smell of hot brass. The competition pressed forward, but already, Elena Cross had changed the game. The line advanced to 2,700 meters, the distance where textbooks ended and instinct began. Out here, wind shear wasn't a charted value, it was a predator. Mirage shimmered over steel plates. Air density shifted with every gust. Even veterans muttered under their breath. Elena Cross set a compact digital device on the bench. Numbers flickered altitude, barometric pressure, micro shifts in temperature. Competitors frowned. One scoffed. Too complicated. Another shook his head. But Elena never looked up. She scribbled steadily in her waterproof notebook, formulas streaming across the page like a language only she understood. She slid prone once more. The pink AXMC caught the noonday sun, scarred but defiant. Her breathing slowed into rhythm. Crack, ping, center strike, even the spotter faltered. Impact, center mass, in the bleachers. A wheelchair creaked. Colonel Owen Stratton, forgotten by most, leaned forward. His whisper carried more weight than a shout. That's Helios breathing. His companion frowned, confused. Stratton shook his head. That rhythm should never exist outside classified files. Captain Marcus Hale caught every word. Helios. The name struck like shrapnel. He pulled out his phone. Scrolling archives. Deployments. Any trace. Nothing. No Elena Cross. No Helios. She was a ghost. At 3,800 meters. The desert shifted again. Clouds stacked over the ridge. Cooler air swept the valley, pushing violent gusts. Elena's hair whipped across her cheek. She didn't flinch. She shifted her bipod 3 inches, reset her shoulder. Crack. Ping. Another bullseye, where lesser shooters faltered. This time applause rippled, hesitant, undeniable. Marcus stepped up, jaw tight. His shot struck outer ring respectable, but not dominant. Younger shooters clapped politely. Though their eyes kept straying back to the pink rifle, he felt respect slipping from him. At the water station, Colonel Adrian Kessler intercepted her, offering a canteen. Impressive work, he said lightly. Then he leaned close, voice low. Keep it tight. Commander. The wrong word. Elena's eyes narrowed. Kessler corrected instantly. Lieutenant. I mean, cover billet. Orders from General Varden. Procedure stays intact. He straightened before anyone else caught the slip. Marcus froze mid-cleaning, rag stalling in his hand. Commander. Cover billet. General Varden. His gut twisted. She wasn't who she claimed. The line gathered for 4,900 meters. Storm clouds pressed overhead, flags snapping like whips. Kessler raised his clipboard and shouted, "This round decides our finalists." Elena stretched prone. Her pendant slipped free, pink crystal flashing in storm light. She steadied herself with a touch, then closed her eyes, once. When they opened, she was steel. Crack, ping. The spotter's voice cracked, center mass. The silence that followed was heavier than thunder. A woman with a pink rifle had just conquered 4,900 meters territory no one had ever owned. Marcus walked forward with boots like lead. He forced his breathing calm, squeezed, fired, outer ring, safe, forgettable. When scores posted, 3 names remained: Elena Cross, Captain Marcus Hale, Sergeant Doyle, a Marine with 30 years behind a scope. The field was cut to 3. Above them, the sky turned black. Every shooter knew the final stretch wouldn't just test skill. It would decide something greater. Marcus clenched his jaw. He knew now Elena wasn't chasing medals. The storm tore across Ironveil Range. Flags ripping, dust stinging faces. The markers were set 5,200 meters. The official final. Doyle went first, 30 years behind a scope, and even he looked uneasy as lightning split the horizon. He steadied, squeezed. His shot sailed wide. The spotter shook his head. Miss. Shoulders heavy. Doyle rolled aside. Marcus dropped next. Lightning flashed. He adjusted windage, squeezed. His round kissed outer ring. Applause rippled extraordinary, but not perfect. He rose with a faint smirk, convinced Elena could not match it. Then she moved forward. The pink rifle gleamed defiant as she lowered herself behind it. Her notebook lay open, pages dense with numbers. She whispered adjustments, voice drowned by thunder. One deep inhale, half exhale, finger curled, crack. Seconds stretched, then ping, dead center. The spotter's voice shook, hit, 5.2 kilometers. Silence crushed the field. As Elena rose, wind tugged her jacket aside, ink glistened on her forearm, wings arched over a burning sun. Marcus's eyes widened. Project Helios. He had only heard it whispered in war zones. His face drained. Impossible. He muttered, but thunder drowned his voice. Rage overtook fear. Inspect her weapon. Nobody makes that shot clean. Murmurs erupted. Kessler gestured toward the command tent. Out stepped General Samuel Varden, silver hair slick with rain, authority etched in every line. Proceed with inspection. Technicians stripped the AXMC. No electronics, no trick. Just a rifle scarred by use, painted pink by steady hands. Elena spoke softly, almost to herself. My sister built it. She painted it pink. The storm swallowed the rest. It wasn't vanity. It was memory. Varden's gaze swept the line. This championship is not yet finished. Verification protocol, SOCOC trial. 6.2 kilometers. Gasps rippled. Everyone had heard the rumors. No benches. No waiting for calm. A gauntlet under fire, and unlike the championship. SOCOC issued Helios test gear, .416 Barrett platform, wrapped in matte pink, paired with a Doppler-linked ballistic solver and prototype ammunition, legal for trials. Lethal at distance. Marcus's pride steadied him. He volunteered first. Rain hammered as he sprinted. Dropped prone, fired, hit. 5 plates fell. The last, the 6 200-meter steel escaped him, round clanging wide. Still, the crowd roared. 5 of 6 in that storm was near legendary. Then Elena stepped forward. She flowed across the posts like water over stone. The Barrett sang with her breath. 1, 2, 3, the plates fell. She never broke stride. At the last post, the final plate shimmered in the storm. Lightning split the sky. She touched her pendant once, exhaled, fired. Ping, center mass. The spotter's voice trembled. All targets hit. The crowd erupted, some shouting, others stunned silent. Marcus stood frozen, rain dripping from his cap. Respect burned through his pride, leaving something heavier, awe. General Varden strode forward, voice carrying over the storm. Assessment complete. Major Elena Cross, your status is confirmed. Major, not lieutenant. The revelation slammed across the range. Elena rose, posture shifting, authority radiating like she had worn it all along. Marcus understood it hadn't been a contest. It had been a test. Every doubt, every confrontation, staged to measure her. In the bleachers, Colonel Stratton raised a trembling salute. Helios still breathes. He whispered as if he'd been waiting years to see it alive again. And the storm wasn't done. A runner burst from the command tent, soaked and breathless. Message from Ops Sentinel unit stranded at Blackthorn Ridge. 2 wounded. Enemy converging. Immediate fire support required. Elena's grip tightened on her pendant. Her brother's name was in that unit. Marcus felt the last of his arrogance peel away. He wasn't just watching a competitor anymore. He was watching a commander, and now, the pink rifle would have to prove itself where it mattered most. War. The championship had only ever been a cover. Elena Cross's eyes met Marcus Hale's for a fraction of a second. No gloat, no triumph, just recognition, one soldier acknowledging another. The storm over Ironveil Range raged harder, as if nature itself understood a truth was being revealed. Then a runner burst from the command tent, rain streaming down his face. Message from Ops Sentinel unit stranded at Blackthorn Ridge. 2 wounded, enemy converging, Immediate fire support required. For the first time, Elena's composure cracked. Her hand clutched the pink crystal pendant at her neck. "Who leads the team?" she demanded. The messenger hesitated. "Lieutenant Lucas Cross." "Major, your brother." The words landed like a shot. Elena closed her eyes once, then opened them again. The mask of command slid into place. Her voice was steel. "We move now, within the hour." Elena and Marcus were airborne in an unmarked transport. The engines droned against the storm outside, rattling through the fuselage. Inside, soldiers sat in silence, their gear clattering softly as night pressed against the windows. Marcus sat across from her, trying to read the calm in her face. Hours ago, he had mocked her rifle's color. Now, he realized the woman carrying it was being entrusted with lives hanging by seconds. At a forward base on the edge of Yukon's frozen mountains, cold air bit their skin the moment they stepped off the ramp. Inside a dim red-lit tent, maps and satellite photos sprawled across a table. General Varden's hand stabbed at a jagged ridgeline littered with hostile markers. "Sentinel team is pinned here. Extraction window 90 seconds. No more." Elena studied the map, her voice sharp, precise. 6 guarding the cave entrance, 2 patrol leaders circling above. Distances 6 450 meters, 4 900, 4 300. I take the cave. Marcus covers the leaders. Marcus felt his stomach knot at the numbers. These weren't steel plates on a clean desert range. These were enemies, alert and lethal, about to kill Americans. By dawn, a snowcat hauled them part way up the ridge. The rest was boots and sleds grinding into the storm, every step crunched into ice, breaths fogging the bitter air. By the time they reached their perch, the blizzard was a wall of white. Visibility plummeted. Snowflakes slashed like shrapnel. Elena dropped prone, cloak merging her with the rock. Marcus fought his borrowed rifle into position beside her. Through high-powered scopes, faint silhouettes emerged, 2 leaders circling. 6 more by the cave. Her notebook pages flapped violently in the wind. She anchored them with one gloved hand. "Pencil racing." Marcus whispered readings through chattering teeth. Wind northeast. 10 to 15 knots. Pressure falling. Humidity high. Elena adjusted her scope with surgical precision. Her breathing shifted into that strange cadence Marcus had been trying to decode. 5 shallow breaths. 1 deep inhale. Half exhale. Pause. Helios breathing alive in the storm. "Final check," she whispered. "You take the leaders. I clear the cave." The radio crackled. "Overwatch. Stand by. 10 seconds." For an instant, Seraphine's face flashed in Elena's memory, her twin sister. Carefree grin. Rifle slung careless. "Don't miss. Not once." The promise burned in her chest. She opened her eyes. Calm as stone. Execute. 2 cracks split the snowstorm. Marcus's shots found both patrol leaders before they could react, dropping them silently into the drifts. Elena's rifle sang 6 times in relentless rhythm, the pink barrel shifting fraction by fraction, recoil absorbed, corrections instant, each shot precise. 6 guards collapsed at the cave mouth before they reached cover. Then silence, a silence heavier than snow. Targets neutralized. Elena reported. Voice steady. Area clear for extraction. Below. Sentinel units surged from concealment, dragging the wounded toward the landing zone. Rotors thundered as the rescue bird descended, blades beating back the storm. Through her scope, Elena caught sight of the last man boarding, broad shoulders, blood soaking his sleeve. Lieutenant Lucas Cross, even across 6 kilometers. She felt his gaze. Slowly, he raised a hand in salute before vanishing inside the helicopter. Elena's lips trembled for the first time that day. Quietly, she whispered, Sarah, we did it. Back at the field base. General Varden waited, his voice cut through the cold. Major Cross, flawless execution. Captain Hale, commendable performance. Project Helios could use men like you. Marcus swallowed hard. Hours ago, he had sneered at a pink rifle. Now he stood humbled, being invited into a program he hadn't even believed was real. Elena closed her AXMC's case with a soft metallic click. Her hand lingered on the scratched candy-colored surface. To outsiders, it might still look like vanity, but to her, it was memory, blood, and a vow carved into steel. Marcus glanced at her as they prepared to leave. What does the pink really mean? Elena met his eyes without flinching. It means we don't forget. Not the promise, not the cost. The transport lifted into the frozen sky. Marcus watched the impossible distances vanish into white. Nothing in his life would ever feel ordinary again. Across from him, Elena sat wordless, the rifle resting close, the pendant pressed to her heart. In that quiet, every breath seemed deliberate, heavier than any speech could carry. The pink rifle wasn't for show. It was memory, promise, and the price she refused to have